So hi everyone, I'm UX and content manager at Waltham Forest. So I mean, I could dive into loads of things around our content migration, but I'll stick to this kind of Jira dashboard and just hone in on there. So we did as there was no real automation; it was very much a manual process, and for the build of our site, we used Jira, which I think is used quite extensively across digital delivery and everywhere. But what you're seeing here is actually a dashboard, which is a different feature of Jira. So essentially what we did is on our old site, we kind of did an audit of it using different things. So using the kind of stripping Drupal itself, doing some tests using a software called Screaming Frog, and then also taking some Google Analytics data as well. We essentially did this massive scrape of our old website. And then once we'd got all that information together, we did a bulk upload into Jira. So we've got a kind of, I think it's a content migration project. And then from there, every single line of our audit effectively turned every single old page on our site into a page that was due to be migrated or something to be done with it. So within each page, we've programmed different fields within Jira. So for example, the epics within Jira were our service areas. And then we also put in some workflows and stuff that matched how we were going to manage the content migration. So this would be to do, in progress, done, review, do not migrate, and blocked, I think were the features. So we essentially use this to track our velocity of the project and to make sure we got over the line for our end of November deadline. So if I just go around, you can kind of see that if you imagine this is looking at the 1600 issues we've got, and we're kind of, obviously this is looking at it when it's done, but if you imagine at different points in time, these figures were changing all the time and we were using this to track. So right now we've got 61% done. We managed to get down 32% of the pages, got some others that have been merged into other pages and things like that. So that's kind of showing the different statuses. We can also, at one point, we wanted to make sure that the pages that accounted for 90% of the traffic, we prioritize those. So we essentially wanted to make sure that all of these were done in plenty of time. Then if we look at, so this is by service category or epic. So you could actually track like how am I traveling with the council tax pages, or how am I traveling with the housing pages, or that kind of thing. So you could break these down and you could kind of get an idea of how pages were going through the process. You could also do it by the assignees. So these were the different content designers that were part of the process. You can see that Melanie and myself have kind of the most tickets in done here. That's because we were the people that were sending things from review to done. So we were kind of peer reviewing content as we go as well. And then maybe is best is to kind of dig into individual tickets. So if I click into this 64 tickets that are done here, this is just showing basically a task for every single page here. And so the things that we kind of have, we've got the Google Analytics data, the previous breadcrumbs of where they lived, and then we also used the old URL, new URL, sorry, old node URL, new URL, new node URL, and we used that data for when we were doing our remapping of all the different URLs, because our URL page structure fundamentally changed when we went from LocalGov, to LocalGov Drupal. So that's kind of it. Just in terms of the benefits, I mean, at one point in time we were tracking this and we were really far behind, and we basically had to change up how we did things, and we had to start tracking at a 2 to 3 percentage per day, I think it was at one point. So we were all hands to the pump during it, but the dashboards proved a really fundamental, really beneficial, and we were doing daily content stand-ups during pretty much the last 3 months of the migration. Don't know if anybody has any questions or if it makes sense.
I think it's amazing because I've only ever done this with spreadsheets, and this seems like a much better way of doing it.
David,
was there any? I was going to say, is there any custom setup in Jira to do this, or is it? I mean, did you have to do a lot of work to get Jira to do this kind of tracking?
I think it's primarily the fields. So you would just have to plug some specific fields in there, but obviously they're just custom fields, and then everything else I think is just kind of I got my data analyst to kind of plug it into the dashboard, but I don't think there's anything that he's done that's out of the ordinary.